Hello everybody, today I'm going to be showing you how to make vinyl stickers with a Silhouette Cameo cutting machine. If you do have a Cricut or any other kind of cutting machine, I would assume that this tutorial could work for you as well, but this is going to be particularly using the Silhouette Cameo. This is how I've been making my stickers instead of going through a manufacturer. There's a little bit more of a in-depth process, I guess, but it is so worth it because you get to have quality control with all of your stickers. Let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing we're going to do is load up Photoshop. So you can use probably any other kind of app like Clip Studio Paint or something along those lines, but Photoshop is the program I know the best, so we're going to be using that. First thing we're going to do is we are going to upload our design that we'll be making into a sticker. You can have pretty much any kind of design you want. I would recommend using a piece of artwork that is turned into a PNG file instead of a JPEG, but if you have just like a piece of artwork that you're wanting to turn into a sticker that's like a rectangular square, that also works. I have done that before. I decided to choose this Night in the Woods May sticker design that has been very popular in the past. Once you get your artwork into the program you're using, we're going to go ahead and add a stroke or border around the design. You can actually go ahead and make your sticker without a border, but I wouldn't really recommend it for something like the design I have here because it is so thin and your silhouette will go around every single little tiny detail instead of going around it on a border and making it more clean. And you can make your border as thin or as thick as you want. It is completely up to you. I'm going to go ahead and make my border a little bit in the middle and do some actual corrections on the words. I'm actually going to make my background dark and fill in any of these tiny little spaces. If you do not fill in these tiny spaces, your silhouette will cut them, and it is so stupid and makes a really rough texture sometimes when it's trying to cut these little tiny spaces. So make sure you fill those in, fill in any other gaps or whatever that you want to with your design. Once we go ahead and fix our border, we're going to go ahead and export this as a PNG. Make sure that your background is transparent. The next thing we're going to do is load up Silhouette Studio. So once we get into this program, we have a lot of bits and bobs and things that we can touch and mess with, but this is going to be very simple today. First things first is that we want to go ahead and turn on registration marks. So come over here to this little tab, go over a couple here. I cannot see what is going on here on my editing software, I'm sorry. But you want to go over here and click on registration marks. This is going to be where you can put your stickers. So this red border is within the parameters of where you can put your stickers. Next, we're going to go ahead and come up to File and then Merge. You don't want to click File and then Open. You need to click Merge for some reason. Even if you have multiple designs, you have to click Merge. Otherwise, it will open in a new file. So now we have our sticker design in here, and it is very big. Now, once we click on it or double click it, I don't exactly remember, it will bring up the actual size of the sticker. You can see it in inches on the border here. I'm going to go ahead and make my sticker a little smaller. I want it to be around 3-ish inches at the biggest width. You can also see that because we added our border, it is not cutting immediately around the design, it is cutting around the border. So that red mark means where the silhouette is going to cut. Now we get to play a game of jigsaw puzzle and basically trying to figure out how to fit as many stickers on this page as possible. Now we can go ahead and right click and duplicate our design. So we can do that about 6 times on this page. I thought I could maybe fit 7, but it just didn't end up working. A lot of the times you gotta kind of play around with things like you can see me doing here. trying to fit as many designs in as possible. You need to also make sure that you do not overlap your designs, or else the Cricut will cut into each other, like the designs. So you need to make sure that things are spaced out just a little bit. Next thing we're going to do is come over to this print button, and it will bring up a separate tab. Click print, even if you're not connected to your printer yet. I am using the Epson printer, and you need to make sure that you click preferences. Make sure that you're using the paper type that you want. I usually go photo and semi-gloss. You need to also make sure that you are going into the advanced settings here. You need to click high quality, okay? This little setting here, it's very hard to miss. Click high quality. It does not matter what printer you are using. You need to make sure you're doing this, or else your pictures and your stickers might not come out very great. Before we click that print button, we're going to come back over to my printer. I will show on screen the sticker paper that I'm currently using. You need to also make sure that when it comes to sticker paper, you are choosing a sticker paper that specifically says printable permanent vinyl. It should have permanent on there. Sometimes it doesn't. If you don't have the vinyl label on it though, it is just normal sticker paper. It is not going to be waterproof, and that's what we kind of want to achieve here. So make sure also that you are printing on the correct side, because if you don't, you can have a huge mess on your hands. I have done that before. It gets ink everywhere and it's not a pretty picture. You can also go ahead and change the printer settings on the type of paper you're using, how you want it to print. I would definitely suggest doing printer tests before you print a full page of stickers. Sometimes your printer, depending on which one you have, will definitely print differently. So I do have an inkjet printer. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. It is the Epson EcoTank. You need to also make sure that you're not using any kind of laser printer. That's not going to work for this type of paper at all. For my printer in particular, I'm going to go ahead and load in my paper in the rear feed. So make sure you also click on that setting if you're going to do that, which feed or cassette you are loading your paper into. Click print and just wait for it to come on out. And there we go. We have our stickers printed out. They look pretty good. And we're going to go ahead and move on to laminating. Laminating is probably one of the most annoying parts about making your own stickers, and I will try my best to show you how I do this, but you can have mistakes and things like that. The materials you'll need for laminating is your sticker sheet. You'll need some scissors. I have this big roll of clear lamination paper, and I also have this speedball squeegee that has a rubber edge. It is great for putting the laminate onto your sticker sheet. Using something that is hard or just your hands can be really tricky, and it can also scratch your laminate. You need to also make sure you're not using lamination pouches. That is not going to work. You need one-sided laminate for this. So go ahead and cut out a decent sized sheet of your lamination stuff, and it doesn't have to be exact to your sticker sheet. It can be bigger. You just do not want to make sure it is too small, because that can be also a nightmare to deal with. So with the particular lamination paper that I have here, it is very frustrating to work with. You have to basically peel it up and then make sure that you are sticking that sticky side to the edge of your paper or the edge of the table, like so. It is kind of a janky process. I don't know if there's a better way to do this. And a side note, you need to make sure that you are doing this lamination process, at least how I'm doing it, on a surface where you do not care if it gets ruined, because your lamination might end up sticking to it. You can also make mistakes like you see here. You don't want your lamination like sheet, that kind of like disposable part of it, to have a lot of resistance because it can get air bubbles in it. It can wrinkle. Like you can see here, I completely messed up this sheet because I laid it down incorrectly. I'm not sure what I ended up doing, but I just messed the entire thing up. The second round, I did it correctly and it just slid all the way on really easily and had no resistance. Once you get your lamination on, you want to go ahead and cut the edges off if you have some excess on the sides. And now we're going to move over to my lamination machine. And you might be going, Mariah, why did you not just use that in the first place? Well, with my single-sided sheets, it does not work in particular with this lamination machine I have. It typically works only with lamination pouches. And make sure that if you do get a lamination machine, you have a hot and a cold setting. So for this in particular, I'm using a cold setting just to make sure that the lamination is really stuck to my sheet. I'm gonna go ahead and feed it in here, and you can see it almost gets caught in the laminator. That would have been tragic to have it jammed. So you really want to make sure you get those sticky lamination edges trimmed really well. After we do that, we're going to come over to the silhouette cutting mat. I have a standard cutting mat, and we're just going to go ahead and line it up in the top left corner. And then we're going to come back on over to our silhouette studio. We're going to go to the tab called Send, and we have a couple of different settings here. I am using the Auto Cut and Auto Blade. For these stickers in particular with the lamination, it needs a lot of blade depth, so I usually go 9 or 10. The force is going to be 30 for me, and then I'm going to do 2 passes. This might be a little excessive for your machine or your type of paper, but I find that if I do any kind of less blade depth or force, my silhouette does not cut all the way through, and then I will have to resend in the sticker sheet. We're going to come over here to my silhouette Cameo, and we're going to turn it on. Just this little button on the side. There we go. Perfect. Before we send the sticker sheet to be cut, we need to load it into the silhouette Cameo. You need to load it with that little white bar and arrow on the left side here. Once you get it pretty lined up with this bar and that white line to the left, you're going to go ahead and click the up arrow to feed it into the machine. Next, we're going to come back to our Silhouette Studio, and we're going to click Send to send the job over to the machine. Now, as you can see, the Cameo is trying to read the registration marks. Those little black squares and lines are the registration marks, and as you can see, it rejected it here. Sometimes, if I do not have enough light in my area, the Cameo will reject it, so I'm going to go ahead and put this little light here so it can maybe see the registration marks a little bit better. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here, instead of having the machine try to automatically read the registration marks, I'm going to line it up manually. So you need to make sure that you are lining up this little black square in the top left corner to the actual blade head. So make sure that your blade head is lined up pretty on top of it. Then we're going to go ahead and click register, and it actually does it this time. So it's going to go ahead and do the cutting job. Now you need to make sure that the machine is cutting correctly. So don't walk away once you have your machine cutting. Sit there, watch it, make sure it's cutting correctly, and if it is totally reading the registration marks incorrectly and it's cutting wrong, you need to make sure and cancel that cutting job before it ruins the entire sticker sheet. For me though, the machine is working correctly, so I'm just going to go ahead and watch it. It is doing its couple of passes on each sticker, so that's great. I don't have to do any extra cutting. And once the job is completely done, we can go ahead and click the down arrow for it to feed us our sticker sheet out of the machine. Now, the part that everybody loves is to take that edge paper off of our stickers and peel them off of the mat. Mine was being a little bit tricky today. Sometimes you can have a little bit of these little paper bits on the back, but you can just either cut them off with scissors or rip them off. Just be a little bit careful. And there you have it. You have your stickers, vinyl stickers actually, that should be fairly waterproof. So that's pretty cool. I will say that there are some different techniques to make these stickers more waterproof, but this is the best that I personally do. You can look up a ton of really cool things online and on Reddit. There should be some help to making your stickers even more waterproof than maybe I have. This way is super fun, and I don't have to pay extra for shipping or anything like that. It is a little bit of an investment, but it is totally worth it to making my very own stickers. Thanks so much, guys. I hope I helped you make your very own stickers with your Silhouette Cameo or other machine. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. If I missed anything, let me know. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!